Thank you for being with us. I be Rick.
And I be Bubba.
Well, a number of things coming up next year. Next year, is the 20th year of the Rick and Bubba Show. It began in January of 1994. And next year will be 20 years. A lot will be going on with that. Tickets are on sale to the We Ain't Never Been Nowhere 20th Anniversary Tour. Go to rickandbubba.com. Upcoming events. 5 cities. Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We'll also be going to Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be going to Montgomery, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, and Pensacola, Florida. So check all that at rickandbubba.com. If that's your city, or it's whatever city is nearest to you, you want to travel in, tickets are on sale now at rickandbubba.com. So check that at upcoming events. Also next year, the first ever Rick and Bubba Unbelievable Outdoor Expo. With Dan Moultrie, and Dan Moultrie is here with us. Next year's going to be a big year.
It's going to be.
I mean, to 20 years, a lot going on.
20 years. We had to wait 4 or 5 years to start this outdoor expo because of the 20th anniversary. We want to do that right.
Do it all in
Let's
do it. It's going to be a big year. And who out there really thinks that we're going to make it for 20 more? You better grab this 20-year anniversary. Don't expect another one.
Yeah, this may be the 2-minute drive.
Right. If you're saying you're going to catch the tour next time, I wouldn't do that. Hey, I'll go to the next expo. I wouldn't count on that. But anyway, so make your plans, and we're trying to introduce you to folks that are coming along beside us and going to be part of that. Steve Burch is with us today. Now, if you are in the state of Alabama and or Georgia, you've seen Georgia Outdoor News and Alabama Outdoor News, the magazines, everywhere.
Love them.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of great news stories, and we'll put the website for both of them in show notes today too, aonmag.com or gon.com. And, of course, we've done projects with Steve in the past, especially the Truck Buck Shootout, which is an incredible opportunity for you to win a new truck. And, Steve, welcome back to the show, man.
Delighted to be here.
Yeah, and so you're going to be part of the big expo coming up next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell everybody a little bit about the magazine and how they, just by simply hunting the elusive American whitetail deer, could end up with a truck.
Well, we do a lot of, if it's going on out there, we cover it.
Right.
And most of our challenges are fairly straightforward. But when your job is to know what's going on in the deer woods from Mobile to the Tennessee line,
yes,
that's kind of tricky. So we set up a way to get folks to tell us. So there are 15 weeks of deer season in Alabama. Each week we hold a separate 1-week-long contest for subscribers only. Best deer wins, depending on the week, a Matthews bow, CBA muzzleloader, Savage rifle. And then
they're the weekly winners of the buck of the week.
Yeah,
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, there are 2 because second place gets a safety system, hunter safety system, and they're required equipment. And there's a $1,000 bonus if you get your picture took with your deer with the best. So thanks to those folks. But anyway, we pull all our weekly winners together. Plus 3 wild cards: Best by Youth, Best by Child, and Best by Lady, and Best Off Public Land. And we take them to your show. We give them a pellet rifle, and the best shot wins truck.
Yeah, so you get weekly winners, and then you qualify to come and target shoot to win the $35,000 truck. So you can find all that by going to those websites that I just gave you, or by picking up a copy of the magazine. Now, one of the things, Bubba, that I think you'll love, you do realize that the magazine did an extensive article on the elusive Black Panther.
Well, that's one reason it's one of my favorite magazines, Rick, because they're not afraid to cover issues and look at all sides of the story, and not just blindly go into it.
Right. Well, I met a man last week from South Alabama says I absolutely saw a Black Panther. Tell Bubba he's not crazy. Steve, what did you come up with in the article? Any conclusion, or you just threw it out there for the reader to decide?
We basically set exactly in the center of this canoe.
Right.
We were looking for evidence, and we presented the evidence, and we let our readers decide who presented the best evidence, and we financially rewarded them. And it was quite entertaining delving through the evidence that was submitted. We were looking for photographic evidence or physical evidence, and we laid it all out there and let everybody draw their own conclusion.
A lot of black house cats filmed, wasn't it?
And Rick, here's the thing. Of course, Dan chiming in, but
sure.
That's
I just want to go ahead and speak the truth.
Dan, look, with the JFK thing coming up for the anniversary, there's been a lot of rehashing of that, and when you're trying to solve a mystery, you have to look for motive, you have to look for means, and you have to look for evidence.
Right.
And I've heard that a lot this week, listening to these documentaries.
Sure.
And in a lot of cases, you have motive and you have means, but you don't have the missing piece of evidence, which will eventually be the cat in the bed of a truck.
Right.
And that day's coming. It's just a matter of time. We know that we've already had that happen in West Georgia. But we all know that Black Panthers, as we know it, the street name, cannot cross.
There was not a Black Panther. It was a tan Florida Panther in West Georgia. But go ahead with your story.
Well, it was a panther. You can pick your coat color. Right, yes. But we all know they read maps and do not cross state lines.
Right. So, the Florida Panther is absolutely documented in Florida, and one has been taken in Georgia.
I had several move up into Georgia in a very
and possibly Alabama
limited capacity.
No, Rick, they avoided Alabama. They went around it. They went and they went. There's the corner mark. Now we go north toward Villa Rica.
If you want to enjoy irony, at its finest, is when the absolute truth comes from a picture and or video from a Moultrie camera.
It'll be the greatest irony ever.
That's funny.
That is good.
But we'll talk about those Moultrie cameras if you are trying to document this or whatever.
That would
Steve, I may need to be your Panther, correspondent for the magazine, because everybody sends me their Panther stuff.
Yeah.
We've been accepting applications, but we haven't found anybody to fill the bill yet. I think you'd make it.
More Rick and Bubba next with Dan Moultrie and Steve Burch. All right, Dan Moultrie's visiting with us. Don't forget, if you'd like to find out more about the Rick and Bubba Outdoor Expo next year, part of the 20-year celebration, we got the We Ain't Never Been Nowhere tour. We got the first ever Rick and Bubba Outdoor Expo. All that information can be found there, upcoming events, and you can just simply go to the website, too, if you'd like to be a presenter. Those booth, the square footage for booths is going away quickly. And Steve Burch is here with us with Georgia Outdoor News and Alabama Outdoor News, because he too will be taking part in that big event coming up next year. And also, you can find out more about your opportunity to be a weekly winner. If you are, take a nice buck, you could win a weekly prize, first and second place every week, and then ultimately get to the big truck buck shootout, which will be coming up later in the year next year, and you could win that $35,000 truck. So find out more about that by going there. We have a trivia question coming up in a bit that could get you a Moultrie Panoramic 150 camera.
And that is a good little piece of equipment, Dan. I've been putting it through the field test.
Absolutely. I was going to tell you, this past week in our state, we had a youth hunt, and we have some new land that we'd never hunted before, and we put 4 of the cameras out there on different locations of food plots and things like that, and just begin to gather information. And the cool thing about the Panoramic 150 is when it comes to the food plot, if you set it up properly and get it in the right place, you can see the entire plot.
Cover the plot, that's right.
And so that way you're not even guessing. Now, granted, you don't know what's going on in the woods behind you or crossing roads and all that unless you get multiple cameras. But as far as your food plots, you can pretty much gather the information of how the deer are operating on those food plots. And I'm going to tell you, I used the information taking the boys out this past weekend and literally said, based on what we have here, guys, several weeks of information, the deer are moving at these times.
Because it is marked.
Yeah.
You've got to.
You don't know how good that is, Rick. I know we've done our job by keeping it simple. To hear you getting technical like that, I'm talking about
that's Rick Burgess.
That's prime time. That is prime time.
Let me tell you what, now you got to get my motive. You got to get my motive. I can't stand to go out and sit and just guess. And a lot of times you do that. That's the only problem about, not having your, this is what's fun now about having our own places to try to learn to figure out things. And there's no, you're not going to see 200 class deer, but if you really work to take, a quality buck wherever it is, if it's a quality buck for that place, that's still a lot of fun. And so we're working on that. And I told them, I said, this is something you cannot tell your grandfather. You can't tell Coach this, and I'm telling you, Dan, it was odd. I know it changed based on people have theories, Steve, on whether it's the lunar or whether it's this and whether it's that. Dan's always told me of all of it, the most important thing is the wind.
Yeah.
So anyway, but what I'm saying is, I'm talking about several days of, and they can change their routine. I know that, but based on what I was seeing, I did not have a picture of one deer before our time. 9 o'clock in the morning, not one. And they were moving mainly in the middle of the day. and then of course late afternoon they still seem to have that routine going. So we punted on getting out there and sitting in the dark for and with daylight. And I said, if you tell your grandfather that we didn't go sit,
okay, I got it. And thought about that.
Yeah, and I said, because I know with not just kids, with us to sit that long. So we started about 7:30 and just tried to sit through the middle of the day, take a quick break, then come back and try to catch that late afternoon. It was much more productive. But the cameras gave us all that information.
No, it's good.
You know?
Have you
And
got
Dan,
any-
you know
have
what
got
I
any
like?
other pictures, like somebody walking through, or coyotes, or dogs, or anything like that?
you know
I
what?
got one picture. None of us could figure out what it was, Dan, and we're all kind of bothered by it. So, but anyway, we'll cover that later. But you know what?
I'm sure it's.
I've got some
panther,
great
but-
pictures.
No, it's not that. It looks like something else, but I won't go into it right now. But
So you don't want to talk about it?
No,
Sasquatch?
not really, not really. Since
what
where it is. But Dan, you know, bear cubs look strange in different ways.
Right.
But
We do have bears in the state.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Black ones too.
Might even
no.
have one in Bubba's neighborhood.
Dan, I don't think we have any in the state. At least it's not a breeding
bears we
population,
do.
right, Rick?
Bears we do.
Rick, no, we don't. No, you know what I like about that camera? Seriously, the different modes. You can just take pictures. You can do the panoramic pictures. You can do the video. But I tell you what, I don't think people use enough is the time elapse. Then you don't have to worry. I mean, you've got a complete view of the whole day. It's there. You don't have to worry about something not triggering right, or
yeah.
something walking because you know anything is susceptible to that in the right condition. But I like when you just do the whole day, and then you know you've got to, and you just scan through it right quick. You can tell what's happening the whole day.
Yeah, you can. And it was funny because then you get into what food plot you pick because we had not covered all of them. And I told my 12-year-old, I said, now, here's what I want to ask you. Do you want to do this? Do you want to go look at the cameras now and see if we set at the right place? He said, I don't want to know.
See, you know, and it's been pretty neat to see.
But you
Steve,
get so much
yeah,
information.
Steve, you see it day in and day out with folks. Is there anything you've seen in the last 50 years that's changed hunting like camera? I mean, the cameras are unbelievable what they've done.
It is in many facets. It's the single most remarkable step forward. It used to be that we went hunting. Now, when you're at home, just thinking about when you're going hunting, I'm hunting that deer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what's on your land. Our ability to manage, our ability to, like you say, keep other things or other people off the land, see what's going on. There is a dark side, though. Folks have figured out chips and cameras and Photoshop. And occasionally you can add information to your buddy's chip.
Well, you know what,
the
though,
Black
Steve?
Panther anytime.
Steve, you know what? Not with a Moultrie camera because it's coded.
You can code it.
You
That's
code
true.
it, and it also really prevents anybody from stealing it because it does them no good.
Right.
You're locked out of it. It is useless to you unless you have that code.
If you use that,
Yeah, that's true.
Now I bet you, Rick, you still got the factory code on yours.
Yeah, I have no code.
No, I do too.
Like I'm still feeling like I've really done something because I can take out the little card out of it. Hey, now being able to take the viewer to the camera and just simply stick the card in it, that's life changing. Because in the past, even though I loved your cameras, I'd have to bring them in, hook them up to a TV or computer, and look at them. Now I'm just scanning through them out there.
Or Rick, when we first started, you had to take the roll out and have it developed.
Well, that's
Boy,
true.
digital technology has changed that. hasn't it?
But I just ride around with that little viewer throughout the land, and I go to each camera, get out, and scroll through and see what we got. Clear them if I want to clear them. Save one if I want to save them. Start over again.
And Dan, I don't know if we've talked enough about the fact that, you know, we talked about it will do panoramic. And what it does, it actually takes three pictures and puts them together. But it also will cover that entire range when you do video.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, because invariably you always get that shot with a leg or a horn and whatever. So now with that 150-degree view, it goes to wherever that is to take the picture or the video. So, I mean, it just it's like having three cameras at one working.
Well, I
It's
told the
really a
story.
great advancement.
I told the story for some of you a minute ago, for others yesterday, about my wife going out for the first time with one of our boys. And I just realized that everything I described happened in front of a camera, and I'm gonna have to go back and look at those pictures. I bet those are precious.
How long should you
That'll
leave?
be better than how excited Jack Crow was at the end of the Auburn game.
That'd be good, Rick. How long should you leave a camera at one spot before moving it around?
You know, that's a great question. People ask all that, but there's guys. all the misinformation that's been out there on hunting for years, just like, oh, a buck will visit this scrape this many times a day, or he'll do the rubs. You can stop all that guy has a fresh scrape, put a camera on it and see what comes and visit it. More than likely, you'll see does following up, coming to it. Not that the buck won't ever visit it again, but it's more than likely a calling card for does that is what has been, seen come from that once you start putting that out. But, you put them on crossings, you'll see our food sources. You get to see. I'd move them as you want to know that information.
Well, it's just like, remember I was telling you, we were coming out from hunting and I saw a big-bodied deer, but it was so far away I couldn't really make out whether it was just a big old doe or a nice buck. It looked like it did have horns, but I couldn't. It was up on a ridge. Well, now I realize that may be a crossing, so I'm gonna move a camera up there and just see what's crossing there. You know?
And if you have a spot, like a natural funnel, you can put up one and leave it, and then year after year, you kind of get a comparison to what you saw the year before. So you can really use it both ways.
There's just as many, I think, besides watching game as watching camp houses or roads. So a guy goes, Rick, you were down here this week, didn't tell me you were down here.
Yeah. Check on the UPS man. How long he's staying at the house?
Right. It can be very functional there too, but hide it. Don't let him know it's there.
Yeah, that's right. Just kind of building on where you put the cameras. We know that over the course of the seasons, deer patterns, ranges alter. Okay? And one of the things is say, okay, I'm going to set these in place, and they don't move. And that gives you a baseline. Okay. And then you can take camera and chase as you learn.
Right, yeah.
And both of those things have great value in teaching you, particularly new property.
So have a couple of permanent ones and then some that float.
That's why I left these permanent for a long time, because I knew when the boys, it got legal for them to hunt, I wanted to have information that was over several days, and to see if this is just is there really a pattern here of any kind?
Right.
And it was surprising. The thing that hit me the most in different states but it seemed to me that these deer do figure out this whole, we go in at this time, we come out. We take a break, we go back this time, we come out. And they've learned that there's a lot of racket, a lot of noise and whatever, and then there's this real calm in the middle of the day where nothing's going on. And you wouldn't believe how many deer were feeding, because it's just feeding where we are now. There's the rut has not started. But how many of deer were feeding? I'm talking about 1 p.m., 12:30, all that when you're going to the house.
One of the
taking your break,
and I think it's more due to pressure. But one of the best times that I've seen the southeast of public places and where it's hard is when it's raining. You think of a hunter and when the hunter would incur those animals is almost never. They learn. It's purely just a learned
pressure.
Trait.
Well,
Think
about how your dog learns your routine.
Yeah.
And a deer, I think, is much more smart, has a bigger brain than most dogs. So they're very clever.
We'll be back. The trivia questions coming up next. Speaking of these wonderful cameras, how about a Moultrie Panoramic 150 for you?
Giving it away today.
Giving it away next. 866-WE-BE-BIG. Where we've talked about, and really it is life-changing for those of you who have hunting clubs or you have some land that you're hunting on, these the use of game cameras, and the technology gets better, it seems like every year. Moultrie's on the cutting edge of that and has been for a long time with feeders and now cameras. And we're going to give away one of the Moultrie Panoramic 150 cameras. Steve Burch is here with us, Georgia Outdoor News, Alabama Outdoor News, and he's another partner that's coming along for the first ever on the 20th year of Rick and Bubba. So many things going on. We've got the tour. Those tickets are on sale now. And then we have the Rick and Bubba Outdoor Expo coming Father's Day weekend in Birmingham, Alabama at the BJCC next year. And you know what? You can find out more about Steve and his magazines and the Truck Buck Shootout, which ties to our trivia question today. Shoot a buck and win a truck. There's weekly winners. You can find out all about that by going to aonmag.com. And also you can be part, if you're one of the weekly winners, of an opportunity to win this $35,000 truck And that gets us to our trivia question.
Rick, I don't want it to be missed, and I think people see these contests and they seem like they're ongoing for 5 years. At some point, we're going to give away a truck. Somebody is walking out of there Saturday night of the event with this truck. Isn't that right, Steve?
Yes.
They're going to leave with that truck that night.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you win
Now,
this,
professional might drive it to the door for you to get out.
Right.
After that, it's yours.
No, actually, when they win it, we don't touch it. We don't hands off, man. It is your truck.
find out about the expo too by going to rickandbubbaoutdoorexpo.com or just upcoming events. It's already there at rickandbubba.com to be a presenter, or you just start getting ready to plan that weekend. Now here's the trivia question, and if you know how the truck buck shootout works, you may know the answer to this. If not, you may have to do some research. Now there's an Alabama and a Georgia winner because this magazine's in both places. So here's the deal: that you have to stand 60 feet, and you shoot, and obviously it's all about accuracy. And here's the question: what are you shooting? Mm-hmm. What are you shooting when you go to shoot? What are you shooting?
That's right.
So you got 60 feet, and what are you actually shooting?
And that's in the final round. It'll move different distances.
Yeah.
But in the final round,
Final
what are you
round,
shooting?
60 feet. And so what are you shooting?
Or in the early rounds, what are you shooting?
866 We Be Big. You get that right, and you'll win this panoramic 150 from Moultrie Cameras. Bobby's in North Carolina. Bobby, have you done your research? You got any idea?
No.
No idea.
I'm gonna guess though.
All right, go ahead and guess. Go ahead and guess.
A turkey.
No. Hear the question. Not what the target is. What are you shooting? What are you actually shooting? 866 We Be Big to Georgia. Jesse is standing by. Jesse, go ahead. What do you think?
Hey, shooting a pellet gun.
That's right.
There you go.
You are shooting a pellet gun, so we're going for accuracy with a pellet gun. Now, if I'd have known that,
Well,
I need to get in the contest.
The fellow from North Carolina ought to get partial credit. Because we're shooting at an egg. It might be a turkey egg.
So you're shooting at an egg?
Yeah.
All right.
In the
You got to
final
break
round,
egg.
yeah.
All right, so Jesse, congratulations. How about this? A Moultrie Panoramic 150 camera belongs to you.
That's awesome. Been wanting one for a while.
Well, you got it.
Got
Enjoy
it
it. We'll put you on hold, and Moultrie will ship that right to you, okay?
Thanks.
All right.
Congratulations.
Greg says 4 to 6 weeks standard, but I think Moultrie will get it there quick.
Yeah, thank goodness Kelly at Moultrie's getting it to him.
She will get it out the door.
Well, because it's one of the.
How do you know her name's Kelly?
Yeah,
Steve?
I
Because
thought,
I'm the one that deals with it.
we
And
know how
Kelly is amazing, and I'm like Norm there.
Every time,
Just back it up. Back it up. Keep coming.
Rick, every time I pull up, she says, "Did Speedy forget something?"
Right. Speedy is such the norm of Moultrie's warehouse from the show Cheers. It's almost like that. One of the funniest lines he ever had on there was when, this would be Speedy's version of it. I had a dream last night that I'd pull my truck up to Moultrie's place and they just give me free stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like, look, well, what's different? You realize, well, in my dream I could fly. So anyway,
Dan, I can say this honestly: the Lenores appreciate everything you've done.
I know the Lenores are well taken care of.
Hey, Dan told me to come by. Kelly McNair here. Hey, Kelly.
one of the
Kelly.
That's funny. So, if you want to find out more about that, too, of course, the Moultrie products are available everywhere. And, who knows what's the next great thing in feeders and cameras? Who knows what's around the corner?
That's right. There's some new stuff coming, guys. That's all I'll say. Next year you're gonna like it.
You already? I mean,
yeah.
let us
there's
learn the
good-
150 first.
Hey,
Good
Dan,
stuff coming.
Dan's got him a design guy, buddy. He's top shelf.
I need
We've
to
got
test it.
some folks down there.
I need to field test some
I'm
of this stuff.
surprised if you don't already
Really?
have it.
Yeah.
From being down there.
Let me call Kelly.
Rick.
What's going on here?
Rick, I'm sure if you went to the Lenore's farm right now, it might as well have Moultrie's up over the top of it.
Yeah, well, it's sponsored by Moultrie.
Well,
yeah.
no, I'm telling you,
Lenore Farms,
I'm
sponsored
telling you
by
how bad
Moultrie.
it how bad it's gotten. Is Tommy said the other day somebody thought his name was Tommy Moultrie. Because I went to the farm, I said, "Is this family thing?"
If you just made TVs, Dan, they'd have it made.
Right. They've changed the name of Lenore Farms to Moultrie Ranch. Speedy, drop some off at my place when you pick free
On
stuff.
your, headed your way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's the guy, isn't he? I mean, you got to. Oh, buddy.
Steve, what's the Black
They got a
Panther's
picture of
been a
Speedy's
big,
truck.
a
You're
big
gonna bring
issue
this
here.
back
What's,
again,
What's
Dan.
we're gonna reel back
Got
in
1
one
minute.
time. What is the number one story that y'all ever covered? that you've got response from?
Probably that the cougar that was shot in West Georgia. We actually had a dead critter, and
so that's the change of
That's
everything.
the evidence, my friends.
And that's what'll start the ball rolling here, guys.
But
did he have a map on him or a GPS or what?
Well, there was an actual study. They took 10 western cougars and dropped them off in Ocala National Forest with radio collars on them to see if that was suitable habitat, that sort of thing. And what was interesting, they had a little hypodermic in the collar, because if they crossed into South Carolina or crossed I-10 or that sort of thing, they just hit a button, give them a shot, and go pick them up, put them to sleep on the spot. So we had real control, and we got to see what happened to them.
What happened?
They got shot.
So they all went. They all were.
You mean they crossed the line?
No, they got shot
by hunters.
By Bubba's.
Well, they got shot.
Yeah.
Or people defending their property.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to find out more about Georgia outdoor news, Alabama outdoor news, and enter into the big contest, just pick up a copy or go to these websites we have in show notes today. Steve, good to see you. Dan, thanks a lot, buddy.
Rick and Bubba, Rick and Bubba.